We requested the umpire allow us to make changes to our fielding positions. Nagato would replace Koizumi as the catcher. Koizumi would move to the center field, while I swapped places with Haruhi and was now standing on the pitcher's mound. When Koizumi asked Haruhi to relinquish her pitcher's position, she pouted for a while until she realized I would be replacing her, to which she gave a complicated look and said,
Well, alright then, but if your pitches get hit, you'll have to treat everyone to lunch.
She withdrew to her position on second base. Nagato simply stood there looking dazed, so Koizumi and I had to help her put on her chest protector and shin guards. Was it really appropriate for someone without any emotional upheaval to play catcher? Nagato walked in strides towards the back of the home plate and knelt down, and so the match resumed. As we were running out of time, I didn't even have time to warm up my pitching skills. Looks like I'll have to face my first time as a pitcher head on. Might as well pitch and see what happens. Swoosh! The ball, which I spent all my strength pitching, landed into Nagato's glove without any force. Bad ball.
Be serious!
The one yelling wildly was Haruhi. I'm always dead serious. This time, I decided to try a curveball. Second pitch. I really wish my opponents could be fooled by me once in a while, but to no avail. The bat rapidly swerved towards my powerless ball. It's all over. My pitch just wasn't good enough. Strike one, the umpire announced loudly. The batter completely missed. A strike was inevitable, yet the batter looked at Nagato's glove in disbelief. I understood how he felt. His reaction was expected, as my wimpy pitch suddenly lowered its flight path by about 30 centimeters just before it was hit by the bat. No one would believe that. Nagato remained where she was, and only moved her fingers slightly to send the ball back to me. I received the wobbling ball, then went into my pitching stance again. No matter how many times I pitched, I could only manage a semi-straight ball. The third pitch was way off the mark. At least it started out that way, but after flying for a few yards, the ball corrected its route and bent sharply, totally ignoring the laws of inertia, gravity, and aerodynamics. It even accelerated as it reached the catcher's glove. Smack! Nagato's frail body shook a little. The batter now widened his eyes. Even the umpire was speechless for a moment. After a while, he announced not so confidently, Strike two! This was getting out of hand. Hurry up and finish this! I was beginning to slack off as I pitched wildly without even aiming or putting any strength into it. Yet, if the batter didn't swing his bat, my pitches would always end up as a strike. And if he attempted to swing the bat, he would end up missing the ball without even brushing its surface. The secret lies with Nagato, making her incantations every time I pitched. This secret was so big, not even I knew how it worked exactly. Perhaps she did the same thing to the bat as when she saved my life and made the classroom reappear, altering its data. Thanks to this, I now felt like I was pitching towards an electric fan. Today's MVP has got to be Nagato Yuki. Soon, our opponents suffered 2 strikeouts, and their third batter was now 1 strike away from being struck out as well. Was it okay for me to play such a decisive character so suddenly? I'm so sorry, Kamigahara Pirates. I didn't exert a lot of force, nor did I make any special considerations as I threw my final pitch towards the pale-faced batter. The ball changed course and flew towards the strike zone. The batter swung his bat with all his might. The ball changed direction again and became a rising fastball. The ball swerved around again, leaving a residual image in the air. 3 strikeouts. It's finally over. We're not? What the? The ball kept bouncing towards the net behind the catcher. Maybe the pitch was too smooth and went slightly out of control after bending. It tapped off Nagato's glove, and the magic ball, according to me anyway, bounced up like a foul ball behind home plate and rolled at an impossible angle. A wild pitch! The batter took this golden opportunity and sprinted quickly. Yet Nagato still held her glove and remained fixed on her position, squatting aimlessly. Nagato! Go pick up the ball! Nagato looked expressionlessly at me giving a command, and she slowly stood up and walked towards the rolling ball. The runner had stepped onto first base and was about to step onto second.
Hurry!
Haruhi stood at second base, waving her glove frantically. Nagato finally caught up with the ball and picked it up as if she were examining a turtle egg. She turned to look at me. Second base, Nagato! I pointed behind me where Haruhi was yelling. Nagato nodded by a few centimeters and swoosh! A white beam flashed by my head, taking a few strands of my hair. I then saw the glove fly off Haruhi's hand. The ball remained squeezed inside the glove as it flew towards center field. I then realized Nagato had merely moved her wrist a little as she threw that. After seeing the glove vanish suddenly from her hand, Haruhi's eyes widened. As for the runner, perhaps the sight was a little too horrifying for him. He was lying on all fours before he reached second base. Koizumi, the center fielder, picked up the glove and took out the ball. He then walked over, carrying that universal smile of his, and touched it on the runner, while apologizing at the same time.
I'm really sorry. We just happen to be quite a disorganized group.
Don't include me in that disorganized group of yours! The game was over. The players of the Kamigahara Pirates all broke into tears. I wasn't sure what was going on. Maybe they were worried about being berated by their team's graduated seniors. Or perhaps they were just heartbroken at losing to a mostly female ragtag high school squad that even had an elementary school girl in it. Or maybe even both. On the other hand, without even standing in the shoes of the vanquished, Haruhi looked absolutely delighted. She carried a bright smile like the one she had when deciding to create the SOS Brigade.
We'll go on all the way and then march into the Summer Kyoshian. Being the national champion is no longer a dream.
Only Taniguchi cheered with her. I wasn't about to break any more sweat, and I'm sure the High School Baseball Federation must be feeling the same.
Great work.
Koizumi suddenly appeared by my side.
Speaking of which, what should we do next? Continue with the second game?
I shook my head. To sum it up, if we lose again, Haruhi's going to be unhappy, right? That also means we'll have to keep on winning, which means we would require more help from Nagato's magic. It's going to become bothersome if we keep ignoring the laws of physics. I say let's forfeit.
I thought so as well. In fact, I think I'd better go help my colleagues. In order to eliminate the sealed dimension, they're still short of the people required to take on the avatars.
Say hi to the blue guys for me.
I will. By the way, I've learned from this matter that we must not let Suzumiya-san get bored again. We should seriously consider this fact. Well, I'm counting on you.
Koizumi then went to the organizers to request a forfeit. He keeps leaving me with the troublesome tasks. I really can't stand him anymore. I went to tap Haruhi on the back as she was forcefully making Asahina-san dance.
What, do you want to dance as well?
I have something to tell you. I brought Haruhi to the outside of the field. I never thought she would obediently follow, though. Look at them. I pointed to the Kamigahara Pirates, who are all dejectedly sitting on the bench. Don't you think they deserve some pity?
What for?
I bet they've gone through a lot of blood and tears just to train for this day. They've been winners for 4 consecutive years. I'm sure they're feeling a lot of pressure within them.
So?
They've probably got bench warmers crying as well. Look at that guy with the Marine crew cut standing by the side netting. That's the disappointment I'm talking about. Don't you find that sad? He'll probably never get a chance to come on the field again.
And so?
So let's forfeit. You've probably had enough fun for one day, right? Honestly, I don't really feel like playing anymore. I'd rather we all have lunch together and chat. Frankly speaking, my limbs are shaking from exhaustion right now. It was true, because I was running between infield and outfield all day, I was exhausted physically and mentally. Haruhi went from being pleased with herself to pouting like Donald Duck. She stared quietly at me, and just as I was about to lose my breath...
You're okay with that?
Yep. Asahina-san and Koizumi, maybe even Nagato, were feeling the same way as well. My sister has been practicing her bat swings ever since the beginning, but if you give her a piece of candy, she'd immediately throw away the bat. Haruhi looked at me, then looked at the baseball field. After thinking for a while, or maybe just pretending to think, she smiled at me pleasantly.
All right then, I'm getting hungry anyway. Let's have lunch. I never thought baseball would be such a simple sport. We won too easily.
Is that so? I didn't argue with her and merely shrugged my shoulders. When I proposed to withdraw in favor of them progressing to the next round, the opposing team's captain wept while thanking us gratefully. I felt so guilty seeing him like that. We had used some pretty absurd methods of cheating to steal our victory. As I was about to leave, the captain called me back and whispered quietly into my ear. Say, how much are you willing to sell that bat of yours for? And so, apart from Koizumi, we were now occupying the corner of a restaurant as we munched away at our food. My sister had already gotten herself entangled with Haruhi and Asahina-san. She sat between them while eating her hamburger by picking it up with her knife haphazardly, while Taniguchi and Kunikita were seriously discussing about joining the baseball team. Better leave them to it. Meanwhile, Tsuruya-san had now turned her attention towards Nagato.
So you're Nagato Yuki-chan? Mikuru tells me a lot about you.
Yet her silent underclassmen paid no heed to Tsuruya-san and concentrated on munching her club sandwich. As though she was about to make an important speech, Haruhi announced to everyone that this meal was on me. I never quite understood where she got these wild ideas from. I've never really been able to grasp how her mind works, so I'm not exactly surprised at what happens every day. I couldn't even be bothered to protest, it was just too troublesome. But that's not all. I even felt relaxed, as though a storm had finally subsided. All of this was because of a substantial amount of extra money that had appeared mysteriously in my pocket. I sincerely pray for the best for the Kamigahara Pirates. A few days later, after school, we gathered as usual in the club room and returned to our previous lifestyle, as though the baseball tournament a few days ago never happened. I drank the brown rice tea Asahina-san the maid had brewed for me, while playing Othello with Koizumi. Nagato sat beside us reading her philosophy book that she borrowed from the library. It was as thick as a dictionary. By the way, Asahina-san wore today's costume as per our request. After all, doesn't it feel better to be served by a maid than a nurse? Asahina-san held the tray tightly and pleasantly watched the battle on the board. This tranquility was no different from before. And the one destroying this peacefulness, drowning it in the wild torrents of time, would always be Suzumiya Haruhi.
Sorry I'm late.
Haruhi apologized insincerely while creeping in like a winter draft. The sparkling grin that she wore on her face gave me the creeps. For some reason, every time she smiled like that, I could tell she had a scheme that would make me even more physically and mentally exhausted. What an incredible world. And sure enough,
Which is better?
I placed my black Othello piece on the board and flipped over 2 of Koizumi's white pieces. Which what?
These!
I reluctantly looked at the 2 pieces of paper Haruhi handed me. Not flyers again! I took a quick glance at both sheets. One was a notice for a grass field soccer tournament, while the other one was for a grass field American football tournament. I secretly cursed the person who took the time to print out these flyers from the bottom of my heart.
Actually, I never really wanted to do the baseball tournament, but this one was earlier than the other 2 I wanted. So, Kyon, which one do you think will be better?
With a gloomy heart, I slowly moved my gaze across the club room. Koizumi made a small grimace and toyed with the Othello piece in his fingers. Asahina-san shook her head constantly, her face nearly in tears, while Nagato simply continued to read her book, occasionally flipping the pages with her fingers.
Oh yeah, how many people do we need for a soccer or American football team? Would the people from the baseball tournament be enough?
I looked at Haruhi's beaming smile and wondered, which game does require fewer players?